themselves, in my opinion.
Don't forget, that was also Vitality giving away GP.
Oh, yeah.
And that worked out really well for them.
The other side of that is that, you know, they just went, okay, well, we'll play Caitlyn because
there are no AD carries left.
We have Forgiven, and oh, it's Caitlyn. Surprise, surprise. This time, that's not the case. ROCCAT are banning out the top lane.
Another Tom Kench ban. Has not seen any action today as he has been benched consistently. H2K already banning out the Rise. They look to take their next one. What is it going to be? It's GP, so we won't see that again. H2K don't want to take any chances. Of course, on the red side, that's much more common.
4 out of 4 right now, top lane bans. Yes, there are flexes in there available.
Freddy's going to have to dig deep as well as Odoamne.
He is. Freddy's played a bunch of different champions, though. He's played Zac, Dr. Mundo, and Na in previous weeks. So he has got other options. I wonder what he's going to go for. We also saw the Graves out of him as well. So there is a fairly wide pool, most of which hasn't been touched by the bans from H2K this far in the draft.
Yeah, and of course that tells me that that's not something they're really worried about. Freddy's performance he's had a couple of standouts, but you know, as we question coming into this split, will this be his year to bounce back? So far, we've not seen anything to indicate that.
Yeah, so far it's kind of been the same as last year. Wow, that is a Rek'Sai ban.
All right.
So, I mean, right now it either tells ROCCAT they have to go for a jungle pick, something like an Elise right now, but I don't think that's strong enough to warrant a first pick. But it tells you that H2K are likely to take that on their first rotation. Keep in mind, Kindred is banned, Graves is available out of the jungle as well, so there are options there from H2K, but they want to reduce the ability now of Airwaks to have that global presence on the map as well.
Yeah, he'll have to dig a little bit deeper, as he did play quite a few Rek'Sai games in previous weeks. To little success, of course, for the team, as we've mentioned, but we'll see what H2K answer with. I actually really do expect this Graves for Jankos.
Well, looking, however, at what has been locked in, ROCCAT have opted for the Alistar. You just heard Mithy say, man, sometimes I just can't Q flash Forgiven on Alistar. And now Extinkt is like, hey guys, I've been out of here a while. I think I've got his number. I think I've got it. So we're going to have to see how Extinkt is going to do on this Alistar, whether we'll see any of those Q flashes hit, or whether Forgiven really is that good at dodging them.
I mean, it's something that everyone who plays Forgiven consistently says. This is like the one guy who can predictively dodge everything all the time. And H2K let the final seconds tick down as they switch over at the last second. Jankos will be taking the Elise, and we've got a Poppy locked in. That could be Vander or Odoamne.
Yeah, right now, as you said, it could be either. I feel like it's fairly likely to go down onto Vander. Vander has played one game of Poppy. The matchup stops the Alistar combination, at least, the headbutt into Pulverize, so you're basically forced to Q flash, or flash Q either way for that Pulverize. However, H2K are just leaving options. At this point, they can wait all the way down until the last pick. One pick that is available that I expect H2K to take on the next rotation if it's available is going to be the Lissandra for Selfie. We do have the likes of the Ahri, the LeBlanc that we know Selfie can play as well, but Selfie had a decent game on Lissandra yesterday, but it wasn't spectacular.
Well, he definitely looked one of the weaker members of his team, but you've got to expect that coming in being a very quick turnaround sub, but on the other side, ROCCAT might try to deny that pick.
I like it.
Airwaks will actually get his hands on Jungle Graves, and Betsy will be the one with Lissandra.
I think this is
or Freddy.
Yeah, it is a flex. Betsy hasn't played it yet from my recollection. Yesterday we saw a Twisted Fate game from Betsy go very well.
Yeah, well, in the early game especially.
Yeah, at least it started well for ROCCAT. Betsy actually had a pretty good game himself, but then it just wasn't enough. He didn't snowball the team far enough that Safir, on that vein, he just never got into it. So that was the trouble with yesterday's game for ROCCAT.
Well, they built a pick comp, right? And then they got 3 or 4 picks, but then it kind of unraveled for them.
Well, it was more to do with stopping their opponents across the map. Origin just ended up being in a position where they could group very effectively on the Lucian, so it was less so much about picking rather than just controlling different side lanes and looking for those 2 versus 1s. In this situation, they've got the Lissandra for that follow-up engage, they've got Alistar for engage as well, and some burst coming from Graves. Looking for an AD carry, likely, and the top laner to come out of ROCCAT. We'll see what they have for us. But interestingly, Corki has dropped all the way through the draft.
Oh, Forgiven certainly got to be smiling about it, as they do lock it in. Definitely had quite a lot of success on that champion. Of course, he tends to have a lot of success on a lot of things, but you know what else has gone all the way through so far? The Kalista. Now, we know in the past, Forgiven has been very outspoken about this particular champion, but I don't think Safir is feeling the same way.
No, I think this is one that they should just lock in for Safir right now. It's a decent setup for them, especially with the Alistar. You've got a good engage potential. out of those two champions. This kind of tells me that it's going to be Trundle in support and that Poppy up in the top lane. So Odoamne feeling confident enough that he's just like, hey, give me whatever they want top into Poppy. We may see the Fiora we've seen a couple of times already. Freddy hasn't really been showing propensity to play the Fiora in recent times, so we'll see if he does go for it or something else, in fact.
Well, there is always a couple of options on the table. We'll see how H2K react to this one if that gets locked in. ROCCAT are really taking their time about this pick and ban, but I think they're going for it. I just got a feeling as 3, 2, 1, just like that, we got a Quinn top.
We have got a Quinn top. It could be mid still. We did see Quinn mid from Faker, from SKT.
Picks,
flex picks all around, man. You got to watch out. This is the situation that H2K find themselves in, and they may just say, go Victor. To Selfie in this situation. You got a couple of options. LeBlanc would be okay. It's not the best into Lissandra because Lissandra just hit 6 and ults when she tries to go forward. So it is a tough matchup compared to a lot of the ones that Selfie could find himself in. They could always put Selfie on Corki in the mid lane and look for Lucian here.
That's very
or something
true.
else here. So there
Lucian
are
fell all the way through.
So many options for both teams. It's going to be like this swap around right at the end that'll decide
This
it.
is what happens when you ban Rek'Sai. Wait,
hang on,
wait, no, it's only hover. Hold on. Yeah. You have to hit lock in, remember?
Locked yet, but we've been playing a lot of poke champions, and there's one that has been missing for this entire time.
They're going to do it. Selfie's got that look on his face.
I'm hushed at it.
Yep, it's happening.
It has been locked in. Jayce finds himself defending tomorrow on the Rift right now when it looks like it for H2K. This is a champion that nobody yet in Europe has played. I've been expecting it out of Perks because he was a big Jayce player. Selfie we have not seen in the European LCS in a while, just like Jayce. Very different style to what we saw Selfie play yesterday, but alongside the Corki, with the poke meta, with the Trundle to line up these skill shots, could beat down the alley that H2K are looking to go for here.
Yeah, and Betsy will have to watch himself. So far, he has been the standout player on this ROCCAT squad, but putting the Lissandra into his hands with the flexible choices that they have here, I feel like ROCCAT are definitely going to try something similar to yesterday, not as much global pressure, but they will have that double teleport available to them to try and knock down members of H2K early. But this H2K team is packing a lot of punch. So we'll have to take a look if they can pull this one off. I'm excited.
I am as well. It's been so long since I've seen Jayce being played. You can see Prolly has pulled the ace out of his sleeve and shakes I'm so fresh his hand, says, deal with that, Jayce. Let's see how we got this.
We'll have to see how they do deal. And you at home, tell us if you think ROCCAT or H2K will take this one home to close out the week here in Europe. At eSports is the place. Hashtag ROC win or hashtag H2K win. First Jayce. I like it.
I like it as well. It's been, as I said, a while, so I will run through a little bit of what Jayce has to offer. Don't really see him too often in solo queue either. So Jayce typically is a champion used just for the ability to poke from so long with AD. He's got good tower pushing potential as well. You put that shock blast through the acceleration gate, deals extra damage, then you step up with hypercharge, his W, and just auto attack a turret down. It's really good at that.
Yeah. You're able to switch forms pretty effectively too. Can definitely turn a fight on its head, knocking people back. And not to mention, we've actually got double hammers in this game too, Stress. So really H2K are looking to knock away and knock down this ROCCAT squad.
Well,
Betsy's having a good time at least.
Betsy's like, okay, you've given me a fairly tough opposition here.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, so looking at this, H2K have a very clear game plan. It's the Siege game once again for them. This time kind of with the dial turned up to about 1 million.
Right.
Because either H2K step up to a turret and just take it, or Odoamne charges up his hammer, the rest of ROCCAT try and engage, and then he just blasts 2 people backwards and they take the fight.
Yeah, and for ROCCAT, they're packing a lot of power, but they've got triple AD. Not just 3 AD carries, but actual triple AD. Betsy is going to have to do so much damage when they start stacking armor on the side of H2K.
Yeah.
And if they shut him down early and prevent him from getting those items, you got to fear for this ROCCAT comp.
Yeah, you do have to fear for that. One interesting thing to note is that the actual last person to play Jayce in Europe was Betsy. on patch 5.13
So he
last
knows
summer.
it.
So Betsy knows this kind of setup, so I'm interested to see.
What kind of mastery is he? Oh, that's a new one.
That is one of my favorite masteries in the game. Storm Rider Surge. I've been playing this with Echo a ton recently. So basically, once you deal, I think it's about 30% of a target of a champion's health, you get a big movement speed boost. So it allows you, once you hit a shock blast on Jayce, to follow up into the skies so quickly.
Selfie will be looking to bring it. One thing we got to mention, since we were a little excited about the start of this game, is that Forgiven and Vander pulled that really cheeky move where they went down and forced Airwaks out of his own jungle, forced him down to the bottom side. I feel like this is going to set up a fast push, but H2K are showing that they're the ones in control of the start of the game.
Well, the reaction to that now is that H2K is sending Poppy top. Elise gets the extra time to take her red. At this point, Elise is probably going to be just able to swing down through the enemy blue buff as well. So it does result in Jankos getting the potential 3 buff start, but that's not the biggest of leads at this point in the game. It depends on how the second phase of the lane swap goes here. Who do ROCCAT prioritize the farm on? Who do H2K prioritize it on as well? You kind of have to feel that for H2K, the clear goal is that, as always, Trinity Force on the Corki. So the faster that they can get that down, the better it is for their ability to siege.
Well, Forgiven is definitely not one to miss out on his power levels. Generally out farms, generally outplays, and he has been a cornerstone of this H2K squad. Starting things off, still continuing this push, but it'll go down pretty shortly. Some gold in the pockets of both. Curious to see if they try a swap around or if they go for a more traditional after lane swap.
Yeah, turrets have fallen at the same time. The one thing that getting Airwaks forced out of the jungle has done is meant that he's only just hit level 3 there, as Jankos hits level 4 himself. So there is a bit of an experience disparity between the two. We'll keep our eyes, though, on this middle lane. Betsy using that E to farm was something we actually saw Selfie doing yesterday and getting punished for a lot. Like, Selfie used that E and it instantly got killed by the opposition in lane against him. But the person that they've given the farm to on the side of H2K is Odoamne. That's fairly standard, leaving him up there. Not opting to give it over to Forgiven. They know that they can kind of hold this in the bottom lane, and Forgiven is in a situation where he can actually just output enough damage that Freddy has to think twice about sitting there. It's not quite time for Freddy to head to the bottom lane yet. It's a bit too shoved out for him.
Right. And Forgiven's not worried at all about not setting someone like Safir back, I have to feel.
And in fact, Freddy's headed topside. Safir is up there as well. They're looking to go aggressive on Odoamne right now.
There's the pull into the headbutt, and Odo is gotta burn his flash as Freddy was in the back. Vaults his way up. Airwaks will turn back around as he knows he can't catch Odo there. Odo's that kind of guy, though, that he knows he always gets a lot of pressure on him. He knows how to handle it, and he's always had to make do with low resources. I feel like a champion like Poppy is so good for him.
Yeah, it's pretty good, especially the fact that your ultimate is always going to be a presence. One thing to keep an eye on is the CS difference between the AD carries. Safir found himself so far out from the minion wave right now that he's significantly far behind. Also, he's only level 3. Hold that as Selfie goes in on Betsy. Jankos is here as well.
Yep, there's the claw. So Betsy taking Shock Blast will have to go the long way back to his tower. Jankos providing pressure there. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, the push still continues. So we have had that reverse push, reverse 2v, 3v0, whatever you want to call it.
There's a lot of pushing. That's what we'll put it at. You know, at this point, Safir is a whole level behind Forgiven, and it's about a half a level difference over in the top laner. So Freddy is ahead on experience against Odoamne.
But we had to expect this. The caliber of AD carries in this game is just so lopsided. Safir has not had great performances.
Right, but this isn't too much to do with just the AD carries. This is to do with which AD carry was sent where. Forgiven accepted the wave in the bottom lane first. Safir was running through the jungle and actually spent some time, I believe, on Gromp, helping out in the jungle, just clearing for Airwaks. So this is actually just a team decision on who ends up in what position. So Safir was a little bit behind the play and ends up behind because of it. Still level 3 as Forgiven is level 4 himself. Forgiven actually just hit level 5, or is about to, and Safir is still level 3.
Does not bode well for the Kalista. But there's still plenty of time in this game. Very, very slim gold difference for H2K in their favor. Safir's been sent back to the bottom side, and the teams continue to dance around one another without trying to make any big moves. Just reacting to the tower pushes with ones of their own. Airwaks and Extinkt will run up into this jungle, but not find anything. Meanwhile, Jankos and Vander, they're going clubbing inside the pit, and they will be able to secure themselves the Rift Herald.
This is what it feels like getting thrown out by a bouncer, though. I have to feel the amount of damage that's being done to Vander. He has to back himself away. So, tier has been picked up already on Selfie. Gonna stack that one up. This is a really, really old change that I'll hang on to as Freddy gets caught out. It's going to be the end of it. Super old change onto Jayce. When we saw Jayce, I believe it was like 2013, 2014, no longer gets a stack off shape-shifting from his ult. So it does stack slower than we've seen it in the past. You rely fairly heavily on the Manamune to get it off the auto attacks with hypercharge as well. So it's going to be a waiting game for Selfie, as always with every tier of Goddess champion.
H2K have actually managed a really nice power move here as they force ROCCAT to back away. They're building a wave towards it. Freddy's the only one here to defend. He's going to be pretty speedy on that Quinn, although he doesn't have his ultimate left. However, there is a teleport in for Betsy back to the mid.
And he's safe to do that in his own mind because he knows there's no kill pressure from the Jayce right now.
And there's no pressure from ROCCAT at all. In this bottom side, they managed, or top side rather, they managed to clear the wave out, but they took so much damage, and Odo can get right back to wave clear duty in the bottom.
Yeah, Odo TP's out, is able to catch most of the wave that was pushed into bottom tower, and H2K just created a lot of, you know, vision control. Top side jungle, if you take a quick scan there, that gives Selfie that extra bit of security in middle lane. He knows where Airwaks is going, can track him through.
That was solid use of the Rift Herald buff on Jankos to force a very quick push with 4 members instantly teleporting back. The value they got for that, the amount of damage they did to that tower, that was great. ROCCAT a little slow to react. We do note them for playing a reactionary game for the most part, but a team like H2K, they're making moves too fast.
It's not the end of the world for them, though, when you look at it. ROCCAT are keeping up somewhat in gold. It's pretty much just the difference between the AD carries right now that is the entirety of the gold difference in this game. So while ROCCAT have been behind the play, they've not been so far behind that the game is over because of it. Like, they haven't lost out all that much. They have been trading vision, which is kind of the unseen advantage when it comes to the gold lead between these two teams. But they've established it again in the top side with a couple of pink wards, and now they've kind of regained control of that top side.
Right, and for ROCCAT, as we mentioned, they definitely have a lot of power in the AD department, but I feel like Freddy is going to be a really key part of this. That 4-1 Quinn push, it's so fast, it's so hard to catch.
That is why they need to keep control of the top side vision so that Freddy knows anytime somebody's coming for him. Because Quinn wants this long lane, wants the extra just room to move with her ult. You can just get through that lane so quickly. With the teleport available, it means he's able to kind of prioritize wherever he wants to be on the map and then appear in a team fight. And you can't really overlook a lot of just Quinn's utility when it comes to the blind that she has. The ability to just move from lane to lane incredibly quickly as well.
Yes, indeed. Betsy picking up his blue buff. So the mid laner is still trying to mid lane. But on the bottom side, it is a 2v3, and Forgiven won't be able to finish this tower off with Extinkt and Safir there, so the rest of his allies are trying to run up and potentially cut off Betsy. He'll have his claw. He's got his flash, but there is trouble a-coming. Selfie gets locked up. Frozen Domain. Betsy knows he's got to send the claw out, and he just barely gets it. Takes a shock blast in the back, though, as a parting shot.
Yeah, that was really close. Like a split second later, and Betsy would have been in a lot of trouble there, but still had his ult, still had his flash. Betsy holding his nerve, and once again, as we crest the 10-minute mark, Betsy finds himself ahead in this laning phase. Yep. This is actually what we've come to expect.
Frozen Tomb, but Selfie will cleanse it out. Meanwhile, though, Airwaks and Freddy are here. They're looking to try and push this one in. Selfie's healthy enough to still push the wave back. But as you said, Betsy has been the shining light on this ROCCAT squad, and he's proving it yet again. If it weren't for that cleanse, that would be a dead Selfie.
Yeah, the difference right now, though, is Selfie's in a situation where H2K are comfortable with him being 10 CS down in lane. They're not in any kind of place where it's like, man, we really need to put everything into getting Selfie ahead, because they're just buying time for him. This is a lane that Betsy is okay to be ahead in this amount. Selfie is still waiting for his tier to finish stacking. We're still waiting for Forgiven to get his first item of the game as well. And that's when H2K turn it on. So there's no real worry for them right now. They are 500 gold up.
Yeah, not only that, H2K as a team, you know, they've just looked so spectacular, the split. It is still very early. This is only game number 6, but when you're already 4-1 and you've had some very tough opponents, you're facing down a team that's 1-4 like ROCCAT, you got to think some of the pressure's off.
Kind of. I feel like if you take it that lightly, though, this early on in the split, especially considering this is only the second game that you're now playing with a replacement mid laner, and you lost a fair voice in the game, I think you still have to like take ROCCAT at 100%, because while they're a team that, you know, haven't really been doing too well outside of their first game, they still have shown their reactive play has the ability to catch teams off guard.
That's true.
And they're reacting in this situation fairly well. They just picked up 3 pinks. They've got Hurricane onto Kalista. It's not the best pickup first item when you're looking for, you know, damage, but what it's going to do is allow her to wave clear a little bit more effectively against this H2K squad that want to siege against them. Still risky, putting something like a Kalista that close up to a Jayce. One shock blast is going to do about 30% of her health. So it's not exactly the cleanest of ways to wave clear.
Well, the 280 carries might finally meet.
Oh, mid lane though.
The mid lane, Selfie, blinding assault. He's taken out. That's a 13-minute first blood, and it goes over to Freddy as they will now get to work on this tower.
Yeah, and ROCCAT actually have pushed up bottom lane as well. H2K pushed top in for that as well. That's a Selfie not being able to escape that gank while his cleanse was down. So Betsy and Freddy are doing the best that they can right now to keep themselves into this game. But with this Rift Herald, H2K are pushing all the way into the inhibitor turret for the first time.
They're forcing the backs. That outer turret will finally go down. That's the third for ROCCAT. And they will try to start this dragon, but the damage has already been done on the top side. An inner turret goes down at 13.5 minutes into this one, and H2K's is still plenty healthy. Right,
but ROCCAT got the mid tower here, and they've now got the dragon from the bottom side of the map. So what this could result in is, look at already the wards placed by ROCCAT, bottom side. This is the kind of space where you can deny H2K's ability to move between lanes. Now that their outer towers are down in mid and bot, you can't safely clear through this jungle without being a good few people. And what this gives is Freddy the freedom to push top lane. As long as he can see 2 or 3 people from H2K clearing out wards in the bottom side of the jungle like he can now, he has extra freedom in this long lane to just get a little bit of work done.
Get a little bit of work done he has been doing. Locks up Selfie. Glacial passed his way out as Jankos was there. And Rift Herald buff. So, yes, to be very fair to ROCCAT here, they have been reacting and they've kept it very close to even. It's still 3 towers to 3 at the moment. And despite the Rift Herald, despite H2K rotating very well, very effectively, ROCCAT have stayed relevant this game. And that is important for a team so far back in the standings.
The frustrating thing for ROCCAT, though, is their wards timed out and got cleared out as well in the bottom side. So now Elise is coming top, Poppy's on the way. Odoamne wants to fight. He got the stun, too.
Got the knock up. Freddy got his clock knocked, and he's got himself a runaway if he can. Jankos is there. He can't do a 1v2. Freddy's down. Jankos claims a kill.
There we go. You can't track the vision if your wards aren't there. And Freddy overstayed in the top lane without the vision control. Betsy should be okay to get out of this. Has flash, has the E available. Wants to go in.
Well, the traffic cone was at his back. Can't go that way, Stress.
No parking. No parking.
Extinkt, Airwaks, and Betsy will be pushing up towards this mid side, but H2K still holding. Forgiven, now on his Trinity Force. Now is starting to be the time that he can work his way up. However, Selfie's still working on his power spike. Odoamne had already completed the Iceborne Gauntlet. They can bring it together. We'll see what they can take.
We will see. And pretty important point for Selfie right now, as at level 10, I wonder whether at level 11 he's going to take that extra point in his ult.
He's actually got ahead of Forgiven on levels now.
He has. I'm kind of looking at this now. There's a super important point for Jayce is when you get 5 points in Shock Blast and 5 points in Hypercharge, that's when your game really turns itself on. Selfie's at 5 and 4. So I wonder whether he's going to put that point in the Jayce ult, which some players do choose to skip, or at least used to, and just get that extra point in Hypercharge fairly early on.
But definitely keep a track on him.
There are a few like passive upgrades that come in his ultimate as well, so maybe we'll see him go for it. We're nearly.
He just might. But for ROCCAT, with Safir catching back up, he's definitely not as close in farm, although 20 is not a terrible differential if you take a look across the board there. Him and Extinkt will be very critical if ROCCAT wants to start a fight. We talked about the 4-1, so clearly that's not the first priority, but if they get forced into it, there's so much ground you can cover with a Fate's Call into Headbutt Pulverize.
Of course, Pyro. I'm being silly. Jayce got changed a while back. He now has 6 points in each of his Q, W
You're right.
available.
I didn't even catch you, my bad.
I looked at it and I'm like, 6. Oh, yeah, that was the other change Jayce had. So no longer do you level up the ult. Nobody puts a point.
I think it's forgivable when we don't see a lot of Jayce.
It's fine. Don't worry. However, what is not fine, perhaps, is ROCCAT being in this top side jungle. Blue Trinket goes out. They spot H2K. Freddy wants to fight.
Yes, he does. Airwaks throws down the smoke screen. There's the Fate's Call. It's out. Extinkt doesn't find a mark. They take a little bit more damage, and they will rethink what they're doing because in the bottom side, Odo is hammering away at this turret, and he'll back off as the teleport from Freddy is spent.
And that's, I guess, kind of the power of the movement speed from Freddy, is he can look for that engage. As soon as that smoke screen comes out, it's like, okay, I don't think we can actually go through this. We don't have the proper ability to fight this. H2K back themselves away, and Freddy teleports down to the bottom lane and saves the tower. So ROCCAT are starting to slow this down a little bit.
They got the Freddy being in themselves. We'll see if they can use that to start pushing some side waves. Obviously, Freddy not being a part of it, he's the crucial split pusher, but nonetheless, they're still able to make it work. Looks like they ended up giving it over to Safir, so we'll see what lane he ends up moving his way into. The bottom side's facing some pressure as Jankos, Odoamne, both in the area, but they're really just doing a bit of jungle.
And here comes the perpetual lane clearer, because it takes so short amount of time for Freddy to just go, oh, I need to recall. Oh, I'm back in lane. Especially, we're not quite past home guards yet, but that's when, you know...
He doesn't even need home guards, man.
That's when basically Freddy turns into like Formula 1. Just gets back to lane. I guess it's more like drag racing at that point. He's always going to win that one.
League of Legends has definitely taught me the lesson that if you have a bird that can carry you on its back, you're probably very fast. It's a very particular lesson.
I don't even know where you learned that lesson from in this game.
A lot of Quinn.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of Quinn, man. Not this game, but a lot.
Okay.
I'm not going to bring up the solo queue. It's pretty messy. I think I'm getting there.
At this point, H2K are getting there when it comes to their composition. They are grouping on mid tower, but look at how healthy that tower is. Betsy's been able to wave clear so effectively, but the chase from H2K is on. Here comes the teleport.
Yep, Extinkt trying to knock Vander in, but he knocks him into Selfie, and Airwaks taking a lot of damage as he backs up with the collateral damage. Vander really low here, but it's going to be Selfie that gets taken out. Betsy gets the lockdown Unforgiven, but not nearly enough damage. Fates call out. Extinkt late to the party. Odoamne gets the knockup onto Airwaks, and he takes him down for a double kill. Odo running wild, and now it is a 3v3 as 2 men have died on either side. Extinkt is caught up. Got no more Unbreakable, but he sure has a flash, and he'll use it.
It looked good for ROCCAT, catching out Selfie, being able to take him down so quickly, but they didn't really count for Odoamne appearing quite that fast. No teleport for Odoamne. He just came to the fight manually, and now they're looking to push this turret. Betsy wants to maybe go in, but I don't think that's the ride he wants to take. He'd end up getting just smacked by Forgiven and Odoamne.
No one was fooled on that glacial path, and the tower in the mid will go down just shy of the 20-minute mark. Dragon is up. Baron has spawned. Things started changing quickly as H2K pull ahead by about 2,000.
And realistically, H2K, when it comes to what Selfie should be doing in fights, is he needs to play a fairly similar role to an AD carry, and you can see that it's exactly the same kind of problems that an AD carry would have right now. Selfie can deal massive damage from the side as long as he's safe in this fight, but Freddy picks his target and goes straight onto him. The rest of ROCCAT are able to clear him up fairly quickly, but this was Odoamne's time to shine. Into the combination on Airwaks is exactly what was necessary here. Odoamne just knows all he needs is that little bit of a knockup, little bit of a displacement, and that's enough to take the fight.
That's the Frozen Fist Poppy, man. That's all you need. And he was able to get in and make some moves. Odoamne, a well-deserved 2 kills on the board so far this game. 100% kill participation. Always important to note. H2K now moving in mass, but ROCCAT are going to look to try and pressure here. They've got a wave pushing in their favor in the top because they've also got Freddy, but his teleport is not up. So ROCCAT move too far forward. They got to back up in a hurry.
Yeah, they do. They have to really respect the damage from Selfie.
Nice dodge of the shock blast, but the tower may not be so lucky if the mini wave will get there.
Yeah. I want to keep my eyes on how Selfie is playing this Jayce, because one thing we started seeing a lot more commonly when we'd see Jayce around, I think it was Season 3 Worlds, is especially the Korean players at the time were the first ones really to note that putting the E down and then putting the Q through it really wasn't an optimal way of playing Jayce. It's the latest you can put E down and kind of surprise people with the fast shot blast that comes through. The better it is, the harder it is to dodge. But Freddy is looking to teleport in from behind. Can he find his way onto Selfie again? He's got Vander.
Got Vander indeed, forcing him to flash out of the way. There's those home guards coming in. ROCCAT will not manage to secure a kill off it, but they found H2K in a bad position, and they immediately ping out. Will they try to take this mid tier? It looks like they will. They just need the minions to catch right on up. Extinkt looking to zone. Odo and Selfie away. Shock Blast takes a massive chunk out of his backside. And ROCCAT actually decided to get cold feet here as it's not safe.
Yeah, Forgiven's able to come to the lane. He's able to clear it out. But Freddy is making good teleport plays when you look at least getting into the fights and taking people out. The problem with that is they didn't get a kill from that. And realistically, H2K just turn around and go, okay, well, let's just do the same thing again, but this time Freddy doesn't have his teleport available.
Yeah, and Odo does very critically right now. 22 minutes on the clock. H2K are looking to siege down the inner turret of ROCCAT, and they are late to react to this one. The Ice Claw comes in, not taken by Safir. Might have been his death there. Does have his Frozen Tomb up, but no flash, so the tower is saved just barely, and Extinkt in the back, trying to make it happen. Pulled in by the face call. Jankos is knocked up. A big pulverize as the hammer comes up. Selfie gets exploded in the back. Vander backing his way out, and Odo being Odo, but he can't quite finish it off. And again, it's a 2-for-1 this time.
But you can see that H2K know exactly what they've got to do in this fight. They're winning these fights, even with Selfie being picked off so early on. All Forgiven does is Valkyrie out of the fight, and Odoamne swaps position with him to say, hey, I'm going to be causing trouble now. And that gives Forgiven the freedom to actually start auto-attacking, start throwing out abilities in these fights. And Odoamne is creating so much just pressure in these fights alone that ROCCAT cannot focus on the secondary carries of H2K. I mean, again, just look at how quick Selfie dies when he gets caught out. He steps forward. In comes the rest of ROCCAT here. It's the re-engage really that does it from the Alistar. Great knockup and the headbutt onto Selfie, and all of the damage goes onto him. Airwaks manages to catch him by a wall, and that's Selfie out before this even begins. But look, Forgiven's safe here. Nobody can get to him.
That's what's so critical about it. They focus all their attention in most of these engages, frankly, onto Selfie. Yes, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, but this is a team that has Forgiven. Not only does this guy normally not die even when you're trying to kill him, if you're not trying to kill him, well, you're not really going to get very close on this very safe AD carry. I guess they've just not wanted to give it a go. Looking at close to 25 minutes in, ROCCAT are trying to turn it around, but their wave is already gone, and they turn their attention topside.
Yeah, Freddy's looking to maybe go top. Does actually come out of Valor form right there, so thinks twice about it. They just want to secure a little bit of control over the Baron buff. You could try and Baron bait, or there's 2 blue trinkets on H2K that are available. So maybe don't start the Baron at the same time. Although, was that Airwaks clearing out a ward? That's like the most
annoying thing.
Easy to bait thing in the world is you go, hey, there's a Graves in the pit. Okay, it wasn't Graves. It was actually the Hurricane that came out from Safir. As he auto-attacks the ward, the proc just aggroes the Baron.
Well,
feels bad.
That really does. But they're doing all right. They still maintain the vision. They've got Freddy down on wave clear duty bottom side to try and pressure the turret again. But H2K are actually at the Baron in force, so they'll turn that vision back in their favor. Although they can't change the Scuttle Crab vision. Not just yet.
No, not just yet. You had me thinking there for a second, like, you can't do that.
Definitely can't do that.
No.
You need a new Scuttle Crab for that stress.
You do. Luckily, they come around every so often.
They do come around.
They're not a rare breed.
They usually get killed.
Such is life of a Scuttle Crab, unfortunately.
This tower, speaking of life, it's hanging on by a thread as Selfie comes in. Brings the hammer down on those minions. 19 seconds till the next dragon comes up, and I feel like both these teams will be passively interested in it, but it's not a massive priority at the moment.
No, I think, honestly, if ROCCAT go over to the Dragon, H2K just push mid and just ward up their flank and say, okay, well, we're just going to take the turret while you take Dragon right now. Yes, you have Kalista, you can do it fairly quickly, but we're not too phased on that. One important thing for ROCCAT is Extinkt has picked up the distortion boots, so flash engages are going to be a lot more frequent, and it is available for Extinkt. Almost available.
Right.
It's like 10 seconds off.
So H2K are actually going for this dragon, but they have so much damage they can finish it quick. ROCCAT are moving towards the mid, but then they back off right that. So H2K knew that they were able to clear it up quickly.
Well, it's only Freddy that's backed off.
Oh, but Airwaks should have been, as he gets knocked up and into the team. And Hextricker won't save him for long. Mama Mortius make that as H2K pick him off.
I mean, that's just risky. As soon as you hear the Dragon Call being finished, you know H2K have already left. Now the jungler is not available, and H2K can look to either maybe set up a Baron here. Oh, they've caught Extinkt.
Yep, he's pulled in courtesy of Safir, who couldn't finish off the frog. Safir takes a huge chunk, and Odo is not done with him yet. Elise going up, Jankos looking for it, they take him out, it's Selfie with the kill credit. He wants revenge and he gets it. Extinkt exhausted, can't make it back to his base. Double kill for Selfie, and now the Baron is all theirs.
Odoamne is showing up big time in this game. Every time he steps into a fight, he is demanding 3 people deal with him. And every single time he's managing to hit them. The only saving grace here is somehow Betsy slows down this Baron attempt. He's in behind them, but honestly, all he can do is really go in, ult himself for damage, but Freddy's caught.
Freddy went forward, Freddy got caught, Freddy disappeared. This Baron, Betsy, might try for something, but he's got nothing left. The flash away doesn't even kill Selfie, and the Baron goes over. Odo now on to Airwaks, who flashes it. Big pickup for H2K.
Massive pickup for H2K. They've taken what was a regular lead and exploded it for themselves. Man, Selfie's starting to deal so much damage in the fights now that he's got the Ghost Blade on top of the Muramana completed, but it's Odoamne that this game is truly about when you look at it. Everybody else has been doing their job, but Odoamne is absolutely destroying these team fights. Every time he's hitting stuns, he's hitting the knock-up on his ultimate as well. Really impressive performance on this Poppy.
Absolutely massive. 2-0-6. Solid kill participation, and he has been causing havoc in the front line, the back line, the mid line. Everywhere there's a ROCCAT member, Odo's been there.
Well, I mean, I know Graves is on ROCCAT's side, but this could be the end of the line for ROCCAT. If H2K can manage to push in with this Baron buff. They're sieging up multiple lanes, and Jayce will shred these turrets unbelievably quickly with Hypercharge. Remember, it will give him a big, big boost to his attack speed. I believe it's like 130%. Oh, no, sorry, maximum speed.
Freddy takes a big chunk of damage, Forgiven as well. But yeah, you could see what kind of havoc H2K could wreak with just one Rift Herald buff. But with the Baron on them, the split push becomes all the more deadly. Odo just waiting it out. Airwaks, another huge chunk. That is that late game Jayce. We are used to seeing Freddy trying to defend on the bottom side. It seems like unless ROCCAT can pull a few tricks out of their hat, this is definitely going to be H2K's game.
It looks like it. Every time these pillars are landing from Vander as well. Let's see.
He's not going in on any of those.
No, these are just kind of like attempted claws, but
they didn't even finish the tower yet. There we go. Freddy's coming in around. They've got a big knock-up, and now is their chance. Vander staying alive. No, he's taken up by Safir, but all of a sudden, Betsy and Airwaks are in the same boat. Down he goes, courtesy of Odo. It's a 1-4-2, but H2K will still get the inhib.
They get the inhib. Now they'll probably look to swing out through the bottom side, establish a little bit of vision control and recall. That's exactly what they're looking for. Freddy is around. He could look to catch Forgiven, but he's more interested in the wave. I don't think he wants that fight just in case there are extra members of H2K available.
Ain't nobody catching Forgiven. What are you talking about? Staying alive. He's had 1 death in the European LCS so far this spring. You know, we called him the King of Spring, or at least I called him that. I don't know if you guys like that nickname, as he was so excellent on SK Gaming. But this time, this is a very different Forgiven. We've seen him evolve as he's gone on to Gambit and now on to H2K. And the teamwork that he has brought to this team, I think it's hard to understate that on top of being so mechanically adept.
Oh, Freddy.
Teleport. Odo is in the picture. Jankos coming around. Nice jump out to avoid the blinding assault. And Freddy is not so lucky as he gets cocooned. He gets knocked against the wall, and he gets knocked back to base.
At that point, it was Freddy in way too deep once again. Doesn't have the vision to be that far up. And H2K go, okay, that's a free kill for us. And from that kill, we still have the ability to siege out this bottom tower. Again, Betsy's not going to go in on that. He will just die if he takes that. Selfie's probably going to swing up to the top side, I would imagine, here. They can fairly reliably push in with 4 people here. They don't actually need their whole team, but they are doing it kind of for security and a little bit of solidarity right now, just to push through and make sure they can get it. It's Odoamne that's swinging topside. He's found a fight with Betsy.
Airwaks has found even more damage in his face, courtesy of Selfie here. Looking like the Nexus turrets are soon to fall. 31.5 minutes in, H2K taking no unnecessary risk, waiting for the big minions to arrive. Betsy taking shots even more. In goes Extinkt. He gets a two-man knockup, but he is going to have to get pulled back on in, and Betsy tombs himself as Freddy comes around the side. It's a desperate attempt to stay alive, but Freddy's getting blown up, staying alive courtesy of the Mob Malmortius. Forgiven's gone down. It's Safir that picks up a kill, the second onto Forgiven in the entire European LCS. But will it be enough?
I don't think so, because Selfie's still alive, but here comes Freddy, fresh off the respawn.
Yep, Safir's caught, and Jankos takes him out. They're still losing members, and now, with only Odo remaining, they managed to hold the line. ROCCAT staying alive this game.
And Safir finally found a play in this game. He's now 5-2-3, but he got right into the backline, straight off the fountain, I believe it was. We'll take another look at it as H2K, they were looking to siege up, but two split focus. Extinkt comes in for the engage, gets 3 people with it. In comes Safir from the side, manages to find his way onto Forgiven, who stops kiting back at one point, thinks he can take it. Safir flashes in for that, and Kalista just has too much damage at this point. Selfie couldn't find a shot blast through here. He's in melee form as well, so couldn't take out Safir from a distance.
Yeah. Exactly the targets ROCCAT needed to focus to save their chances this game. Meanwhile, Odoamne will be soloing this dragon. It will be number 3 as ROCCAT try to clean up the shambles of their base. 2 inhibitors gone. Some time on the clock. Should be free dragon for H2K, but they're able to stay alive. Let's take a look at that Baron power play, though, because H2K, not the biggest, but they definitely made it work for them.
Oh, yeah, they made that work. They took a whole bunch of turrets. I mean, it's 8 towers to 3 right now. 2 inhibs down for ROCCAT puts them in such a desperate spot. They have been hanging on throughout this game, but honestly, it's because H2K, in that last little bit of an engage and the push into the base, were a tad sloppy, stepping forward into an Alistar, not really being able to layer the damage from afar. ROCCAT, however, this time
no surprise count.
Have to sit in front of H2K, and that is where the damage is going to rain out from.
Yep. Airwaks is back. The last remaining tower on inhibitor is there. The teleport comes in, though. Freddy wants to turn the fight. In he goes.
That's a fast bird.
Out he goes. And he looks for Odo.
He's gone on Odo, but that,
all right.
That was a pretty underwhelming teleport, I'm going to be honest.
I think he regretted the decision. If I had to guess.
At that point, I really think so. Oh, shock blast are going to rain through. Not quite as much damage as expected, but still a fair amount.
Selfie's definitely hurting right now.
Yeah, he's got the Mortal Reminder as well. Not the most amount of things.
Most common item to see, yeah.
No, normally you'd see Lord Dominic's regards, but we are going to see an engage. Doesn't quite find the mark.
Yep, but Forgiven gets caught out by Betsy. He goes down again. They're intent on taking him down, and they manage it this time. H2K scattering without that reliable damage. ROCCAT have managed to get a 1-for-none here.
They have, but in goes Odo again.
Yep, Odo goes right back on in. The inhibitor comes up, but Freddy, with the help of Airwaks, is able to outplay on Jankos. H2K scattering to the winds right now. It's a 2-for-none.
Big miscommunication from H2K. Odo used the knockup right as Selfie used his shock blast, which would have hit 3 people and done enough damage to turn that fight. It means ROCCAT had to back away. Meanwhile, though, their base was under siege. I don't think Freddy can actually stop this in time, but ROCCAT are trying for the Hail Mary play of taking the Baron. Jankos is not alive. Teleport into the base by Odoamne.
Odo's back in the base. We're still in the Baron. Odo's trying to solo this. Oh my god, Odo! Teleport in. The back door is real. It's so close. Oh, Freddy's there to defend. He's jumped on him. Odo's got to back out of this one, but the Baron's secured by ROCCAT. I don't know if they can breathe a sigh of relief just yet. Everyone's holding their breath.
Well, for now they can. I mean, that is enough to slow down H2K. They still have to deal with 2 waves of super minions. They can, however, defend the top lane, and H2K are put on the back burner for a moment or 2 longer. Only 1 turret remains for H2K to take, and that is the top inhibitor tower turret, which with this Baron buff should be that much more difficult for H2K now.
Credit to ROCCAT, though. Always talk about their reactive play and the chances they have taken to save their lives this game, and it has definitely worked out in the later stages. We expected this game coming in to be a much more lopsided affair. Yes, H2K have made some critical mistakes, but ROCCAT have been able to punish them. And there's some glimmer of hope for this team. Even if they don't get a win here, sitting at 1-4 right now, that they can start turning their season around.
I love what Vander's done here. Vander's like, I need movement speed, I need tankiness, and I need damage. Dead man's plate.
It's the best item in the game.
I love it.
Come on,
I love
Stress.
it. Aggressive. And in go H2K. Didn't get the stun into the wall, but he's got the knockup.
Safir knocked down. Hammer time for Odoamne. Meanwhile, Selfie, speaking of hammers, backing out. Betsy locking up as many as he can. Forgiven in the middle of it all, but he stays alive, flashing away from the fight. Freddy trying to stick it out, and Odoamne is not going to go down just yet. Forgiven gets the pick off onto Betsy. It is 3 versus 1. Freddy's days are numbered. Shock blast, triple kill for Selfie, and that has got to be it.
That is going to be it. There are 2 long death timers for ROCCAT right now, and H2K have no turrets in between themselves, an inhibitor, and the Nexus in this game. It was a little bit sloppy in the last 5 or so minutes from H2K, but that's going to be the game.
They will once again shore up their grip at the top of EU. H2K with the victory. Some mistakes were made, but they were able to end it all at the end of it. And Selfie coming up with a pretty big play at the very end on that late game Jayce to really turn that fight in their favor.
Yeah, pretty big, but a lot of the attention for that game was given over to Forgiven in these fights, which is understandable. That tends to be what people turn their attention to on H2K, but he was just content Valkyrieing out, getting himself out of the fight, and then suddenly Odoamne bursts onto the scene. What a game for that man.
Yeah.
5-0-11 on Poppy. Like, that is a standout performance for Odoamne right there.
Yeah, made even more impressive considering he definitely got, well, he did get some early farm, he did get the tower gold, so they didn't like set him too far behind. But we noted that he's always had to make do with a little bit less, typically gets left alone. Obviously in those tower swap situations, it's a little bit different. But when he showed up, boy did he, TPing in, crazy hammers left and right, wasn't afraid to use it offensively to just get the single target knock up. Rarely did we see him knocking people three screens away.
Yeah.
Didn't need to reset any fights.
Yeah,
H2K were in control of most of them.
And you know, that was the thing about at least most of the engages out of Odoamne was just using that short knockup on the Poppy at the right time for the most part. There was the one where he interrupted Selfie's shock blast that basically would have won the fight for them, which made it a little more difficult. ROCCAT did end up taking some, you know, I think it was the Baron off that.
Big smile on Brawly's face.
I mean, coming into this this split, he was like, hey, this is my Crucible. Now I've got this team that is fairly established. You know, probably put a lot of weight on his own shoulders and was like, this is a split where I feel like I have to do well with this team. I've got these gifted players. And
yeah.
H2K seem to be in good order when it comes to at least how they're playing around the map, how they're doing in lane swaps, where they're putting their presence on the map as well, the movements around it. It's pretty solid from them.
Well, and not to mention,